गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Gyaneshwari, chapter 18, verse number 55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yachasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. This is the verse we were looking at or are still looking at. And Bhaktya mam abhijanati, Bhaktya, devotion, through devotion. Who knows me truly? Who knows? Knows what? How great I am, who I am, meaning the Lord is speaking. The Lord is saying, he who knows how great I am, who I am, and then having known me in essence, meaning having known the Lord and who is the Lord in essence? He is the Paramatman, Parabrahma Paramatma, and to know it within him also as the Atman. Then alone he enters into the Supreme. And that entry into the Supreme is the topic here in last class towards the end that we were looking at, where it was told, here the example that was taken was, when he is awakened, he knows that he is all alone, that he is the sun, the light giver as well as the object lighted, and these two are not different from each other, meaning he is gone, the seeker has gone beyond all duality. Just like the dreamer who wakes up has gone beyond the duality of the dreamer and the dream world. Same way, when the waker will wake up to his essential nature, he will go beyond the waker and the waking world. See? And another way to put it here is, just as when the sun rises, there is no darkness. Similarly, when the self reveals, at that very moment, ignorance, how does ignorance express? As desire. And how do you know there is a desire? Only by way of thought, not any other way. Not by way of action or speech, only by thought you know. So, no thought, there is no, adulteration possible. There is no ignorance possible. Just as when the sun rises, there is no darkness possible. Similarly, here the example he has taken of the sun is, he is the light giver as well as the objects lighted. The light which is coming from the sun is not other than the sun. The form that the light, the reflected light which is illuminating the form on the earth is not other than the sunlight only. So that which is illumined and that which is illuminating are one and the same. This we have to apply in our contemplation. When the object of knowledge disappears, only the knower remains, and he realizes that one who knows is also myself. It's uncanny. In Adhyatma Ramayana also something similar. In our Amrit Anubhav also similar thoughts are going on. In Kathopanishad also similar thoughts are going on. He realizes that when the object of knowledge, what is object of knowledge? Object of knowledge is that which is known by the subject. The seen is seen by the seer. The heard is heard by the hearer. The known is known by the knower. The experienced is experienced by the experiencer. So, object is known by the subject. So here it says, when the object of knowledge disappears, only the knower remains, and he realizes that one who knows is also myself. Means he falls back into himself. This is falling back into himself. The Chin Mudra. I think I explained this last week, didn't I? A little bit. He realizes that this knowledge of non-dualism is also myself. Now look what we have been saying in Upanishads. The word Vedanta, the word non-duality, the word Atman, the word Ishvara, the word Paraman, the word awareness, the word Sakshi, witnessing consciousness. You alone are. There is nothing, no one else outside you. We have to come to a point where I alone am, without a thought. It's not even that I have to come to that. I have to recognize without a thought, because that is my natural state. He realizes the knowledge of non-dualism is also myself. So, non-dualism no longer remains a concept. Right now, if you are understanding and jotting notes or convinced of what the Bhagavad Gita is saying, then it has become a concept. We have to, instead of make it into a concept, here and now, while listening, we have to be the subject without an object. Or we have to be the subject whose object is subject alone. See? Then the knowledge dawns upon him that he himself is the Supreme Self who is beyond dualism and non-dualism, and then that knowledge turns into realization. Then thereafter, when the subject is seeking the object called the subject, that means the I is seeking the I, everything collapses. The whole matrix collapses. And where the matrix collapses and you are awake to yourself, as yourself, that itself is realization. You have come to your true state, true nature. You have come to your natural state. Again, when we use the word natural, you say, oh, this was unnatural. No, this is the permanent state. This is who you are, all that there is. Everything else was only an imagination, a superimposition on you. So when this realization happens, all concepts, ideas, philosophies, uh, the various philosophies, the Sankhya mark, the Yoga mark, the Gyan mark, the Bhakti mark, all becomes zero. There's only one. Purnamada Purnamidam. Ishavasya sarvam. Ekameva dvitiya. Nanasti kinchana. Now we are in the 1206. 1206. 1206. तेथ चैलिया एकपण दिसे जे आपुलया आपण ते हि जाता नेणो कोण होई जे जेवी काडोळा देखती एक क्षणी सुवर्णपण सुवर्णी नाटिता होय आठणी अलंकाराची ही नाना लवण तोय होय मग क्षारता तोयत्वे राहे तेही जिरता जेवी जाहे झाले पण ते तैसा मी तो हे जे असे ते स्वानंदानुभव समरसे कालवूनिया प्रवेशे मजची माझी आणि तो हे भाष जेथ जाये तेथ मी हे कोणासी आहे ऐसा मी ना तो तिये समाये माझ्याची रूपी. He says that thus as the state which one attains after waking up disappears, he does not know what state he has entered into, or as the gold ornament appears or as the gold ornament appear as gold without their being melted, or when the salt is dissolved in water, the water acquires the salty taste, and when that water becomes evaporated, that salty taste too disappears. So also the term he ceases to exist. How can the term I subsist? In this way, the notions of he and I cease to exist, and he merges into my being. So this is the final consummation that is being talked about. That final consummation is not an inward journey of renouncing everything, neti neti. That inward abidance is not a journey which we normally feel neti neti and then anvaya. First, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am everything. Second part. So there is no running away from anything, and there is no process of inclusivity of everything. Why? The entire creation is existing in its own absence. The one who has come to, so his attention is not on the creation. His attention, if you think of creation, the maximum you can go is up to avyakta, unmanifest. But our goal is consciousness. And when our attention is on the consciousness, then all the multiplicity, all the names and forms, they just, whether they are there or not there, one is not available to them. Just as after waking up, you are not available to the entire dream world. Even if you want something which is nice, you cannot enter into that world. It's done and dusted. You cannot bring it back. Exactly the same way, once we have come to abide in our essential nature as the self, thereafter the seeker, he sees, wherever he sees, it's the self alone. And that is what is told here. Thus, the state in which one attains after waking up disappears. That means the waking world disappears. He does not know what state he has entered into. Now, the state of realization, abidance, the self has entered into the self. Self is not a state. Self is not a state. State is that which comes and goes. Waking state comes and goes, dream state comes and goes, deep sleep state comes and goes, angry state comes and goes, jealousy state comes and goes, confused state comes and goes, clarity state comes and goes, conviction state comes and goes. But self is not a state. It does not come and go. It is ever and ever and ever and ever. What state he has entered into? So there is no language required. When we are afraid to be, then we will go to void. But here, with this understanding, when we approach, then there is no fear. Everything is in its place. So, realization is not a state. Samadhi is a state. Sahaj Samadhi is not a state. It is the natural. It's it. Or as the gold ornaments as the gold ornaments appear as gold without their being melted. Huh? So when we look at gold ornaments, our attention is on the gold. What is the difference between our attention and the goldsmith's attention? His attention is on the gold, your attention is on the form. You pay for an imaginary form, say $10,000, and now market has dropped, recession is coming. You go back to the jeweler to sell your ornament. What does he buy? Oh, I paid. It's such a wonderful one. It is an unique one. It was owned by some queen or Maharani. He says, Amma, I only buy gold. I don't want ornament. You keep the ornament. I will take only gold. How much will you give me for the gold? $3,000. His attention is on the substratum, the basis, the essence. Our attention is on the beauty, the form. Or without their being melted. So the goldsmith doesn't need to melt the ornaments to find out, oh, there is gold or not. His attention is always on the gold. Our attention is always on the ornament. Change that viewpoint about yourself. Wean your mind away from all the form. Or when the salt is dissolved in water, what happens when the salt ball, as our Ramakrishna Paramahansa says, the salt ball went to see how deep the ocean is, and on that journey, what happened? It became one with the infinite ocean. The salt doll lost its identity, lost its crystallization, lost its dullness, and became one with the infinite waters. So, when the salt is dissolved in water, the water acquires the salty taste, and when that water becomes evaporated, that salty taste too disappears. So when the term, so now Tattvamasi, you are that, he I am, Soham, I am, what is called Saha Aham. Soham is Saha Aham, he am I. Soham means that. But there, when we say Soham, Saham, Saha Aham, he is also there and I am also there. So I'm still objectifying the infinite. I'm still objectifying the self. Here he says, when this realization comes about, Once you wake up, then he and I merge into one. The division between I and he vanishes. You may be chanting Aham Brahmasmi, Soham, but when the merging, when it, I don't want to use the word conclusion. But while chanting that, while thinking about Aham Brahmasmi, in that contemplation where we become completely subjective and come to this realization that I am me and Brahman is also the I. There is no difference between them. The quality of the two is the same. They are both one and the same. There is no quality as such, but they are both one and the same. So when realization happens, when awakening happens, this idea that I want to merge into something, and that merge into what? Into Brahman. Who wants to merge? I. So I want to merge into Brahman, or I am Brahman. It was an idea in your mind before. That's why the mind was thinking about it. But now both I also vanishes and Brahman also vanishes as a word, as a thought in our mind. Similarly, here also, when the term he ceases to exist, how can the term I subsist? Meaning, subject is always in conjunction with the object. Subject is valid only as long as the object is there. If there is no object, is there any reason for the subject to be there? Subject cannot exist on his own. He needs the object as his diet. But this unique thing is what is happening in realized masters. They don't become the subject, yet everything is going on. Inexplicable. You cannot work it out in your mind because it's not your experience. In this way, the notions of he and I cease to exist and he merges into my being, meaning Brahman. No more differences, no more duality. Continuing, जेव्हा कापूर जळो सरे तयाची नाम अग्नी पुरे ए मग उभयतातीत उरे आकाश जेवी का धाडलिया एका एकू वाढे तो शून्य विशेखू तैसा आहे नाहीचा शेखू मीची मग आथी तेथ ब्रह्मा आत्मा ईशू यया बोला मोढे सौरसू न बोलणे याही पैसू नाही तेथ न बोलणे ही न बोलोनी ते बोलिजे तोंड भरूनी जाणीव नेणीव नेणोनी जाणीजे ते जाणीव नेणीव नेणोनी जाणीजे ते तेथ बुझिजे बोधू बोधे आनंदू घेपे आनंदे सुखावरी नुसधे सुखची भोगिजे. He says, just as when the camphor is burnt up, both the camphor and the fire also vanish. Camphor and the fire, camphor is the object and fire is the subject, if you want to take it that way. Both of them vanish. Camphor also. So what does the fire do? It consumes the camphor. As long as the camphor object is there, till then fire is burning. And thereafter, boom, both of them gone. Same way, what is the food? What is the diet for the self? For the I, it is the object. What have we given the object? Brahman, Ishvara, God, self, witnessing consciousness, whatever, different names you are giving. But with continued focus, continued contemplation, when this realization dawns that what I am seeking, I already am, the object loses its potency, the form dissolves of the object, the form dissolves. The moment form dissolves, the I has got no reason to be, I also dissolves. Then what remains? That is called awakening. That is the awakening. Just as the camphor is burnt up, both the camphor and fire also vanish, and only the sky beyond them remains. Or when one is deducted from one, the remainder is zero. So, what remains after subtracting what is and what is not is myself. So, when you deduct this, the I am me, Brahman is also me. The objectivity you have to remove, meaning thinking about it has to go. Being, that is the maximum, I can't say any more. Objectivity has to let go. And what remains behind is you. In that state, all talk about Brahman, the Self, and the Lord becomes meaningless, and even refraining from speech also has no scope there. Huh? All these are words. Words, the words like Brahman, the Self, the Lord, the witnessing consciousness, the awareness, the super consciousness. So many words are coined. That is to inspire, to give some meaning to this, because we are objective in our approach. We are so moved, we are so bent on not understanding, or bent on logicalizing everything, or bent on objectifying everything. Without that objectification, objectification is the thinking process. So without that thinking process, we are not ready to understand. We are not ready to come back to ourselves. And here, one more thing, once you start thinking, our thinking should be such that it leads to no thinking. But our thinking leads to more thinking. Refrain from that. Refrain from that. So here when he says that in that state all talk about Brahman, the Self, the Lord becomes meaningless, and even refraining from speech also has no scope there. Whether speech is there or not there, who cares? Whether the world is there or not there, who cares? Whether God is there or not there, who cares? Should we call it Brahman or should we call him idiot? Both are same after that. It has got no meaning. Words have got no meaning thereafter. Words were used only to direct your attention towards something subtler. So when you use the words Annamaya Kosh, Pranmaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanmaya Kosh, Anandamaya Kosh, what is happening with these words? Your attention is being directed to your 5 sheaths. So when you say Annamaya Kosh, it is the grossest body. When you say Pranamaya Kosh, it is the vital air body. When you say Manomaya Kosh, your attention immediately goes to the mind. Vijnanmaya Kosh, your attention goes to the intellect. Anandamaya Kosh, the cause of all these. So words are taken as pointers. So when we use the word God, when we use the word Self, when we use the word Brahman, these are pointers to consciousness that I always am. And I am that consciousness even if I don't say I am the consciousness. See? In fact, words become an impediment. They corrupt. For a seeker, they may corrupt, but he has to come to this realization. Whether there are words or no words, it does not matter. No obsessions, no phobias, no thought fixations. Vritti Vyapti is taking place. Not Phala Vyapti. Phala Vyapti is no conclusionlessness. When we have given up all objects, what is the result? The result is I. I am, I still am. But when you come to the I thought must dissolve. The I thought must dissolve. As it can be described fully without talking about, as it can be described fully without talking about not talking, so it is known by discarding the notions of knowledge and ignorance. This is exactly where, what is this? Where are we? 15. न बोलने या ही पैसू. नेक्स्ट लाइन. न बोलणे ही न बोलोनी ते बोलीजे तोंड भरूनी. That is what he is telling here. What is that? That it can be described fully without talking about not talking. Maunam vyakyat prakatita parabrahma tattvam. Is the teacher talking? No. Is the knowledge being expressed? Yes. Knowledge is getting expressed. See. This shift in within ourselves has to come. Right now we are obsessed with word knowledge. We are obsessed with conceptual knowledge. We are obsessed with knowledge coming as an object to be devoured. This has to change. This shift has to come. It will happen only by grace. You cannot make it happen. Because the more you make it happen, the more agitated you will get. Because mind is desiring, mind is expecting. And as long as the expectation is there, it will lead to restlessness of the mind. So it is known by discarding the notions of knowledge and ignorance. How do you discard knowledge and ignorance? When you recognize that the knowledge that you have collected is also an aspect of ignorance alone. It is an aspect of ignorance alone. In that state, knowledge is to be known through knowledge, bliss is to be enjoyed through bliss, and happiness is to be experienced through happiness. So, knowing is being. You know you are. You know you are. Right now, you know you are as the body. Or as Panchadashi says, you know you are as the mother, daughter, brother, sister. Virtual self. Then you have worked that out, little bit satsang, you come to, I know that I am the body, breath, mind, intellect. But this is also the illusory. knowing. And this is also discarded. What remains is the you, real you. So when he says that, and that real you is, we use the word Sat Chit Anand, isn't it? So it is existing, it knows that it is all that there is, and the resultant, where knowing and being come together, as long as you know you are hungry, hunger will continue, there is no ananda. As long as you are smelling good food, the tongue is watering, the eyes are big, but the moment you and the food become one, that very moment the desire concludes, isn't it? Exactly the same way. Where I am and I know I am become one. It is not separate. The desire to know I was keeping the I as a subject, as a concept in the mind. Now that is gone. And the moment that happens, the bliss appears. So here he is saying that knowledge is no, what is he saying? Where are the words? In that state, knowledge is to be known through knowledge. That means knowledge knows itself, bliss is blissful by itself, and happiness is experienced by happiness. There is no one, no somebody there who is having the experience of happiness, having the experience of bliss, having the experience of knowledge. There is nobody there. If there is somebody having the experience, we are not attained. We are falling short. Continuing in the 1216. तेथला भूजोडला लाभा प्रभा आलिंगिली प्रभा विस्मयो बुडाला उभा विस्मया माझी शमू तेथ सामावला विश्रामो विश्रांती आला अनुभवू वेडावला अनुभूतीपणे किंबहुना ऐसे निखळ मी पण जोडे तया फळ सेवुनी वेली वेल्हाळ क्रमयोगाची ते पै क्रमयोगिया किरीटी चक्रवर्तीच्या मुकुटी मी छिद्रत्न ते साठो वाटी होय तो माझा की किम क्रमयोग प्रसादाचा कळसू जो हा मोक्षाचा तयावरील अवकाशाचा उवावो झाला तो. He says that in that state benefits gains more benefit, luster combines with luster, and wonder of the mind becomes peaceful, rest becomes restful, and experience becomes frenzied with experience. What more can I say? As the beautiful creeper of Krama Yoga is nourished. Krama Yoga, step by step liberation. To think you want to know instantaneously, it's not, very rare. Otherwise, all of us, whether it is the path of Hatha Yoga, whether the path of Kundalini, whether the path of knowledge, if we are involved in a process, it is Krama Yoga. Krama means process, step by step. Krama means sequence. So Krama Yoga, sequential yoga. It's not I am that. It hasn't happened. We keep asking how, why, when, where, what, who am I, where am I, what am I? Now what I have to do? This is the experience. This is what is happening. I think this, I am feeling afraid. I am losing my memory. Now what should I do? Krama Yoga. So in that state, benefit gains more benefit. So everything gets enhanced. The benefits enhance themselves. The luster enhance itself. You know, the example for this particular point, what was given was, if you remember the story of Krishna, when Krishna had gone for gone with his cows and his friends for grazing the cows, that time Brahmaji, who had through the grapevine came to know that this young fellow is the Narayana himself, but his eyes are deceiving him. He is playing flute, he is playing with balls, he is taking the cows and calves and stealing butter. How can such a child be Narayana himself? So, just it's a leela. So he goes and he takes all the thousands of cows and calves and all the gopas and puts them into a cave while Krishna was having a nap on the branch of a tree. When Krishna woke up, he found there was nobody. Now where is he? This is Purna avatar of Krishna. He closes his eyes and he sees what the mischief of Brahmaji. Lord Krishna at that time creates a parallel creation of the same number of cows, calves, gopas out of himself. There and then, Sankalpa Matra. But what was the material used? Himself. And for 1 year, those calves and cows and gopas, they went to their parents, slept, lived. Next morning, every morning, when Krishna used to play the flute, everyone would come out. Again, they will go for grazing. 1 year it went on. And as the year was going on, the calves were loving the cows more and more with every passing day. The cow was loving the calf more and more with every passing day. The mother was loving her son more and more every passing day. The friends were loving each other more and more every passing day. Because there the material of space, air, fire, water, earth was not there. Krishna created that those cows, calves and gopas out of himself. He is of the nature of bliss. He is of the nature of Satchidananda Swarup. With that awareness, consciousness, he brought about the manifestation of these. So they are also all of the nature of bliss alone. And it's increasing and increasing and increasing. Just like the space is expanding and expanding. Their love is also increasing every passing day. This is the thought, that the luster gains more luster, the benefit becomes more, has more gain of benefit. Then what other example is taken? And wonder is fully drowned in wonder. Wonder becomes more wonderful. It's a language. These words are used to put across the inexplicable. Wonder, in that state, peace of mind becomes peaceful. Peace of mind becomes peaceful. Now there is no hankering for peace. That is what it means. Before, the mind was withdrawing from the world, the mind was withdrawing from the senses. But now, even if the world is there, even if the senses are open, the mind is not interested to go out. Why? In the light of the self, the mind has also become transformed. It is bathed in the light of consciousness. There's nothing to seek, there's nothing to hanker for. So, before it was wanting peace by changing its direction from multiplicity to ekagrachit. The mind was moodha, kshipta, vikshipta, and niruddha. These are the faults of the mind. They don't allow it to rest. Ekagraman, so you replace the four with single pointed mind. Why? And as your single pointed increases, your mind becomes calmer and calmer and calmer. If a few other conditions are there, it becomes calmer and calmer. But here we are not talking about a restfulness of the mind which is dependent on agitation and calmness. It is not dependent on that. So here it is talked about as that in that state, peace of mind becomes peaceful. Rest becomes restful, and experience becomes frenzied with experience. Such a person, when he is living in the world, his experience of the world is a heightened experience. Your experience of the world is a dull experience. What is our experience of the world? This is a laptop. This is my laptop. Don't touch it, It is mine. I spent so much money for it. This is my chair. At the dining table, I will sit only on this chair. Nobody should sit there. And if someone says something and it hurts your ego, immediately touch me not. How dare you say that? Someone say that to me. We get affected only because we have accepted the validity of the other. If we have accepted that the other as the self, then there is no insult. See, this is very freeing. So such a person whose mind is bathed in the light of consciousness, once the realization, the awakening happens, the darkness from the mind, the ignorance from the mind, every aspect of the mind, what is it? Nothing. Yet it's a language. It expresses, the light of consciousness pervades the mind. That mind pervades the senses. So the light of consciousness also pervades the senses, and the senses pervade the world. So so that light of consciousness is pervading whatever the eyes see, whatever the ear hears, whatever the tongue tastes. Now what is happening? Divine experiencing the divine. That is called the Rama Leela, Krishna Leela. This is how the great saints and sages abide. This is their what have we experienced? When I say this is their experience, have you understood anything? Only conceptually. That the light of, and now you will start waiting for the light of consciousness to pervade the mind. My mind must become full of light. Then my mind must go and illuminate and put the light through the senses also. And then, this is how they show in the TV. Then from the eyes, the light comes out, and all the holes, the light comes out, and it pervades the whole world. It doesn't happen that way. And yet, that is exactly how it happens. Everything is divinized. Right now, you are listening to me, you are available to me how much? To this satsang, how much are you available? 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90, 95, 99? Maybe someone is sitting in the bed and listening. Maybe they have taken a nap in between. Because all on audio I can't see. Possible. See, when you are listening to 100%, knowledge will take place there and then, without any delay. Similarly, when the abidance comes, immediate. Just I tell you one more example is there. Just as a young girl who becomes mother, where does the milk come from in her breasts? Where does the ability to sacrifice, nourish, caring, love for that child? Nobody is giving injection of love and nourishment and sacrifice. It comes naturally, isn't it? The whole personality transformation happens the moment child is born. You cannot pinpoint. Exactly the same way. A complete transformation of the mind and the senses comes about, and because of the mind and senses, the whole world being an aspect, just a thought in the mind alone. It's 110% you are available to the world, to the experience, not to the world, to the experience. And how do you become available to the experience? Not ऐसे करके देख रहे हैं और आँख भी नहीं blink कर रहे हैं, नहीं. He is abiding in the self as the self. He is comfortable wherever. That is what people see. Experience becomes frenzied with experience. What more can I say? See, another word for experience becomes frenzied with experience. Another word for it is ecstasy. There's no rhyme, reason, there's no ideas, there's no thoughts. You're just writhing in joy. Unexplicable joy. Imagine the realized master, that Raman Maharishi, that Ramakrishna Paramahans. Some dance, some sit quietly. What more can I say? As the beautiful creeper of Krama Yoga is nourished, it produces the winsome fruit in the form of myself. Once we become committed to the Krama Yoga, step by step, living their life, yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, whatever, bhakti yoga, vaikari, madhyama, pashyanti, para. Lord is saying here that the fruit of it. Whom is he saying? Just now you said there is no fruit. Now you are saying there is a fruit. Now the fruit is being talked about to the seeker, who is seeking. And what will be the fruit? Because our intellect is functional at this moment. The fruit is the realization. The fruit is the Lord. If you want to take it as the Lord, what is the nature of the Lord? The Lord supports everything. The Lord is not a slave to his potency, potentiality. That is the Lord. Allows everything to unfold the way it is meant to unfold. Doesn't interfere. How we are functioning? Exactly the opposite. We are slave of our mind. We interfere everywhere. We give opinion everywhere. Doctor, we go to the doctor and tell the doctor what medicine he should give us. Why I am saying I do that? देखो मजेदार मजेदार. It produces the winsome fruit in the form of myself. It is not that you create it, it comes about. When the mind ceases to be, the Lord graces, the self reveals. O Arjuna, I am the crown of that sovereign Krama Yoga. He in his turn becomes the jewel in the form of knowledge. Or this Krama Yoga is like a temple and he becomes like the expanse of the sky over the dome of this temple. Who? Such a person. He becomes of the nature of auspiciousness. People flock to him. He is the umbrella, just like the sky is the umbrella under which the whole world is there. Finds shelter, finds accommodation, is able to conduct itself. Similarly, the Mahatma, such a Mahatma, he is of the nature of auspiciousness. Anyone who sees him, hears him, touches him, feels him, thinks of him, will be blessed. And what is the blessing? His mind will become quiet. Who? The ignorant ones. So when he says here, I am the crown of that sovereign Krama Yoga, and he in this is the word Krama Yoga. हाँ क्रम योगी लिया है इन्होंने. क्रम योगा, where are we? I am the crown of that sovereign Krama Yoga, and he in his turn becomes the jewel in the form of knowledge. The knowledge of what? Imagine instantaneous download of all the knowledge of everything in this world. Oh my God, that will be too much load to carry. I can't even remember the whole Gita. Now you're telling me about the knowledge of the whole world. Yes. Whenever you think of something, that thing will reveal its knowledge. When you look at someone, that person will reveal their knowledge. You don't need prompts thereafter. Or this Krama Yoga is like a temple, and he becomes like the expanse of the sky over the dome of this temple. Okay. This Krama Yoga is the process. This process is the temple. And he becomes like the expanse of the sky over the dome of this temple. God is inside the temple. God is inside a small room in a temple. In the olden times, they used to keep the temple dark. Morning and evening arti, they will do the Karpur arti, and in that light you will see the Lord. For hundreds of years, the Ananta Shayana at near Mysore. No, Padmanabha Swami. I have been to those days. In those days, even lately I went into 4 years ago. There they don't have electric lights showing that this is the Lord. It was a dark, about 20 feet long, dark statue sleeping like this with the legs that way. And everyone thought it was, they never clean him, keep doing the karpur, agarbatti. Over hundreds of years it has become completely dark. And one day the priest, by mistake, he fell or he did something, and the suit, the dark, which was the suit on the body of the Lord, came off. And what shone forth? Pure gold. Then he was cleaned completely after so many hundreds of years. The moment he was cleaned, it is now 20 feet of solid gold statue lying there. See? The lustrous. That luster is inside you. Remove the suit. What is the suit? The Panchakoshas. Remove it. How? Krama Yoga. Krama is sequence. What is the sequence? Vaikari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. What is the sequence? The Kundalini is the sequence. Muladhar, Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahat, Vishuddhi, Agya and Sahasrar. Commit to it. Continuing, 21. Nana sansara aadavi kramayoga vata baravi zodili te madaikya gavi paiti zali se. He aso kramayoga bodhe tene bhakti chidgange mi swanando dadhi vege thakila ki ga. हाठायवरी सुवर्मा क्रमयोगी आहे महिमा म्हणवनी वेळो वेळा तुम्हा सांगतो आम्ही पैदेशे काळे पदार्थे साधूनी घेईजे माते तैसा नवे मी आयते सर्वांचे सर्वही म्हणवनी माझ्या ठाई जाचावे न लगे काही मी लाभे इये उपायी साचची गा. He says, or he treads the royal path of Krama Yoga in the forest of the world and reaches the town in the form of union with me. Garud was asked. I was watching Garud. There is nice Dharma Yodha Garud on YouTube. Full series is there. Watch it. The life of Garud. You know who is Garud, the vehicle of Lord Narayana. So there the son asks, Shani Dev asks him, what is greater, the Grahastha life or Sannyas life? And Garudji answers. What he answers? He says, Grahast life is greater. He says, but people are renouncing. People look up to the sannyasis. People are in awe of the sannyasis. Why do you say grahastha is greater than sannyas? He says, in sannyas, the seeker is all by himself. The seeker is all by himself, seeking on a solitary journey to the Lord. But in grahastha, whoever, father, mother, daughter, sister, whoever it is, who is on the journey, while they are on the journey, people who are watching that person, they also benefit. Sannyasi may go in a cave and do the sadhana, may go into an ashram and do the sadhana. How is the society benefited? But a person who is in grahastha, as he is living his life, he is on this karma yoga, fulfilling his duties, moving further, purifying himself, living in the family but without attachment, performing the acts that are required to be done without a like or dislike. And other people in family, in society are watching. They test you. And when and they see how you're progressing over the years. And many of them get inspired also. See, many of them get inspired. When I was a kid, one Malti Amma was there. Malti Ai bolte the. They used to call her Ai, Malti Ai. At age 11, she was married. She had 13, 14 children. Imagine a production line. Out of those 14, 15 children or 13, 14 children, few of them died. Typhoid, malaria, this, that. Because how do you survive? How do you take care of so many children? We are talking in 40s, 50s, 60s. Well, 60s, I was small and she had 6, 7 of them that time left. Others have all died. But when I was small, what I saw, she used to do Devi Upasana every day. Every day. From 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, whatever the time, that was hers. She'll finish the cooking in the morning. That time is hers. And slowly living in the family with so many kids, doing the puja, performing the ritual, not demanding anything from anyone. She became a lighthouse for many people. So many people in Delhi came to her for guidance, became her disciples. I saw her when I was 2-year-old maybe. After that, straight away, I saw her when she was 85, 86 or 82-year-old. And people had built her an ashram near somewhere in Maharashtra. I can't remember now. See? And there the people are there, they are coming and doing sadhana. Still people are inspired there. See? Who has done it? Did she go anywhere? No. She stayed in her family. When the flower blooms, the bees come. When the flower doesn't bloom, then what you have to go to Sydney, then you have to go to Brisbane, then you have to go and show that, hey, you are a sannyasi, you can give lectures, I can benefit the society. But when you are in the society, just understand the principle that I'm trying to convey here. See? So here, where are we? Or he treads the royal path of Krama Yoga in the forest of the world and reaches the town in the form of union with me. That is the bestest way. Do not try to run away from the world. When we run away from the world is in our mind. Wherever we go, inside a cave, inside an ashram, the world which is in our mind will be carried by us with ourselves. Deal with it. We went, yes, certain times you need some quiet and solitude. Let it be. Then jump back, come back to the society, continue to function, not with desire, but you keep doing your sadhana. Krama Yoga, keep refining yourself, keep purifying yourself. And as you keep purifying yourself, automatically the fragrance will spread. And it will benefit everyone. Sugandhim pushti vardhanam. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam. That fragrance which is born out of purity, not just physical, mental purity. It is nourishing. It is auspicious. It's a blessing to all, whoever comes in contact with it. And even if someone believes or doesn't believe, it will benefit that person. See? Reaches the town in the form of union with me. It leads to, we see in the life of Ramakrishna Paramhams, he was a Grahastha. Lehdi Mahashai, he was Grahastha. Gondavlekar Maharaj, he was Grahastha. The Ganges in the form of his devotion, her devotion and knowledge flows along the current of Krama Yoga and reaches the ocean of bliss in the form of myself. This is a very good, I was going to give you this example, but it's already here. That the Gangaji, she begins, Krama, sequence. What is the sequence? It's a flow. From where? From the Himalayas to the Ganga Sagar. Along the way, what is she doing? Only paropkar. People are using, misusing, blocking by dams, using the water for farming, channeling the water, doing so. But she does not stop her journey to be one with her beloved. In the beginning, so many tributaries come and join the Gangaji. And as Gangaji flows, so many branches Gangaji, out of Gangaji come out as she comes to the ocean. But eventually everything merges into her goal is merging into the ocean. Her goal is not me, myself, for myself. That is sannyasi life. That is sannyasi life. So Swamiji, did you make a mistake? To make the talk interesting, put a question mark and keep thinking for the rest of the week. Our sadhana must not stop. Our commitment to the divine must not stop. And that commitment to the divine, maybe in the beginning it is once a week, then it is once a day, then it is twice a day, then it is thrice a day, then it is all day. But this growth, this commitment, this desire to merge into the divine, it must take over our being. The more we get committed on this journey, on the goal, the Krama Yoga continues. Otherwise, if the goal is not there, we will get stuck with one house, with one child, maybe two children, maybe with so many kilos of gold in the house. Maybe we'll get stuck with disease, maybe we'll get stuck with aspirations, maybe we get stuck in tiredness. But when we are committed to the goal, there is always inspiration. Because if our mind is getting purified, in a purified mind, inspiration, I was going to say perspiration. Inspiration automatically comes about. You don't have to will inspiration. Inspiration is the breath of the divine. The Ganges, in the form of his devotion and knowledge, flows along with the current of Krama Yoga and reaches the ocean of bliss in the form of myself. O discerning Arjuna, such is the greatness of this Krama Yoga that I am describing it to you over and over again. I am not such a one as can be attained through such means as suitable time, suitable place, and suitable material things, because I abide in all things. What great point Bhagavan has said here. We choose. This is my temple room. Don't sit on this asan. Don't shift my gods. Don't touch my gods. I get up at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning to do my puja. And rest of the day, eat head of other people. God is not bound by time, place and objectivity. Go to any Panditji. Hundreds of times they are only washing their hands only while doing puja. Everything at the physical level, everything has to be pure. They want the objects of puja to be pure. For that, such a lengthy process is there. But they are not concerned about the purity of their mind. They are not ready to accept that by nature, the self and the whole world is of the nature of purity. We don't have the eye yet to see that, that's all. But they are not ready to see that. They are fixated on the objects, they are fixated on the time, they are fixated on the place. The gods must face the east. They should be made out of panchadhatu. All that is correct. We are not against that. But being obsessed by that. I went to, where did I go? In Nepal, we crossed the Gandaki river and went to one temple. I can't remember the name now. Vishnu temple. And while coming back, we are crossing the Gandaki river, and I picked up lot of shaligrams. Lot of them. I can't, lot of that doesn't mean so many. There's a lot of small ones and 3-4 big ones on which in one of them the Sudarshan Chakra was there, and another one the conch was there. And when they split open, you get a half conch here and half conch here. And I kept it in my house for long time. I used to offer flower, and every day I used to look higher. One day I said, if you put shaligram, naturally the thought comes, uski to puja honi chahiye roj. You can't just leave it like that. If you have a shivling from Narmadeshwar, etc., every day Abhishek has to be done. Then what do? One day Lord gave me a dhakka. I started, so many pieces of shaligram. One by one, whoever were the Vishnu Bhaktas, I started giving it to them. I said, take it. Now I'm free of it. See? So much paraphernalia is required. Why? We are invoking God through fire, through puja, through abhishek. The whole world is divine. Every stone is divine. Every breath is divine. Every body is divine. That we are not ready to accept. I am not such a one as can be attained through such means as suitable time, place, and material things, because he is transcendental to all. He cannot be conditioned by time. Lord cannot be conditioned by space. Lord cannot be conditioned by objects. He supports all the three, but he is transcendental to all of them. So he is everywhere. He's not only at sunrise the sun is there, and on the sunset the sun vanishes. Sun is always there. It is our foolishness to think that way, isn't it? Exactly the same way. The divinity is always there. It has never gone out of existence. It is the existence, supporting all existence and non-existence, supporting all time, space, and objectivity, and their absence. So it supports everything, but itself is unaffected by everything. Because it's much, much, much larger than everything it supports. Ocean supports all the waves, but is independent of the waves. Whether the waves are not there or not there, ocean does not get affected. Same way the Lord also. Here. Don't forget that Lord is the one who is throbbing in your heart, in your mind, in your every being. He is your essence. We are talking about that. Because I abide in all things, we'll leave it here. Contemplate on this. For the next week, and next week, from Newcastle, we'll have the classes, no problem. If for any reason it is not there, I will let you know on the Wednesday class app group or Gita class group. Okay, if in case. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sit quietly for a moment.